I'm Christine Romans. The news is in. December job creation, 103,000. The unemployment rate dropped to 9.4%. I'm here with Tig Gilliam, the CEO of Adecco, to talk about where the jobs are, who's getting hired, who were those 103,000 people getting hired, or net job creation.
Well, for most recently, those job creations have come from temporary employees. So, in fact, in November, there were about 40,000 incremental jobs, 40,000 new temp employees as well. From a skill set point of view, though, most of the new jobs are coming in the professional skill set arena. So it's engineering, it's finance and accounting, and it's IT as the areas that are best for job growth right now.
That would suggest to me that you need to have an education, you need to have a direction in those STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, math. That's where there's movement right now.
Absolutely. It's where the long-term transition is in our economy overall, where the jobs are going to be created. And so the more education, clearly, the better the odds at employment in this environment.
Then we look at the other side of that story, and that's the 6.4 million people who've been out of work for 6 months or longer. Are they going to need retraining? Are they going to need something to help them re-enter this labor market?
I think longer term, that's absolutely going to be a requirement, and it's something we need to focus on as a country in terms of making sure we've got the retraining mechanisms in place. In the shorter term, there are other areas that don't require the same level of education or expertise.
As, say, an electrical engineer, because it's a little hard to retrain from that after you've been out of work for 6 months.
But even in healthcare, as an example, healthcare is a very strong growth, even through the recession. There are plenty of skill sets within that don't require extensive
training. And a good volume of jobs there. It's not as if there are just a few jobs in healthcare. There are a lot of different jobs in healthcare, and it's local because healthcare in hospitals and outpatient facilities and diagnostics, it's all around the country.
Absolutely. In some areas you may not even think about, but bilingual speech therapy is an example, is an area that's in great demand and one of the growth areas in our Salient business.
Oh, that's interesting. As a job set I hadn't thought of. Let me ask you about things like, we talked about healthcare. What about technology, information technology, retraining for computer science, or transferring your current skills into an area where tech is big?
More and more jobs now require some degree of IT sophistication and capability. And this is an area that's been held up better through the recession than many other skill sets. It's an area that over the next few years we expect to see very strong continued growth from a skill set perspective. And also, it's an area where we see an increasing number of people taking contract and project-based assignments. So there's an opportunity to really move from client to client along with the kinds of projects and expertise that you're developing.
I mean, you're right there, the CEO of an employment company. I mean, you know, a company that owns many different companies. Where are we in the labor market? I mean, is it getting better or is it just not getting worse?
Well, I think, we saw from the jobs report today, 100,000 jobs. It's in line with what we've seen. It's not
enough, right? It's not enough to move us forward.
We're going to look back and we're going to say, look, 2009 was the year of economic recovery. We got through the recession. 2010 is going to be the year of jobs recovery. We now are on a positive trend, but it's going to take us 2 more years, even in a good scenario of job growth, to see an appreciable reduction in the number of people looking for work, a reduction in the number of unemployed, and to get more of a healthy jobs market underway.
Bottom line, this labor market recovery is something that's going to take years, not months. It's going to be it's going to be a slow time to heal. When people ask you, what should I have my kid major in college? What do you say?
Well, I go first back to your STEM example.
Right.
You absolutely, now is the perfect time to make sure you're focusing on one of those skill sets that requires the level of education and that is going to differentiate you from the many millions who don't have it. That's absolutely required. And I would continue to focus on that. The next thing, though, is experience. And this is why in this market we're seeing so many people get permanent jobs from temporary and contract assignments, because they're getting that working interview and they're getting the chance to demonstrate beyond their education how they can take what they know and their energy and their passion and bring it to value in a working environment.
All right, Tig Gilliam, thank you so much.
Good to see you.